Well, hello there. I want to give just a quick foundational kind of lesson today, something that beginners and experts can do for the rest of their lives and get a lot of benefit out of this. So this exercise is kind of specifically for people who use very heavy picks, which is a lot of mandolinists, especially bluegrass or kind of the more modern mandolinists nowadays, not so much the classical ones, it seems like. But I'm thinking something on the order of like 1.2 millimeters and up, maybe down to 1 millimeter and up, something where you're not really getting a lot of really any flexibility out of the pick at all. The idea of this exercise is something like the foundational exercises that like runners do. Sometimes you just go running just to kind of get miles and it helps your metabolism build up, or something like pilots do. Sometimes they just build hours flying in the airplane just to get more experience, get used to their to the aircraft, and their body gets used to all the actions associated with that. This is something that you can do as an exercise that puts very little stress on the body, but I think has huge benefits, again, especially for those with the heavy picks that don't really have any flex at all. So for this exercise, a metronome is critical. Now, you don't have to buy one anymore. If you're watching this, this means you have a computer or a phone or something with Google on it. If you just type in metronome in Google, you can get a little widget on there now. I have mine set for 100 beats per minute, which I'll be using today. So the purpose of this is, again, like I've mentioned on other videos, getting the release of the pick, the actual start of the note, to be the focus of the pick motion, the right hand motion. Otherwise, what I tend to fall into the habit of is when I think of when I need to play the note, that's when I start the right hand motion. But depending on how hard I'm gripping the pick, how loud I'm playing, how quietly I'm playing, that does not necessarily mean that's when the note actually happens. And it's not super dramatic, but it can shift enough to throw off the synchronization with the left hand. It can shift when the notes actually get plucked, and you can end up with a lot of like dead notes that don't end up right. So I'm going to play a note here for the microphones, and then I'm going to put the sound clip up, and I'm going to expand it so you can see kind of on a sound wave kind of how much time there is between the start of the sound of the pick versus when the note actually happens. So I'm just going to play a couple notes here. So that sounds like a fairly kind of instantaneous, like start, there's the note instantly, but it's not really true. And when I zoom in, you'll see why. Hello, vehicle. That's what I get for recording in a neighborhood instead of a dedicated recording studio. So again, use the metronome, but the other hint for this exercise is to play as quietly as possible. And the reason that helps is I find that when my synchronization gets off, or my timing gets off on when the notes are actually popping out, I often try to fix that by gripping the pick harder or softer, depending on like how freely or how imprecisely I'm actually timing the notes. So if you grip the pick extremely lightly, and I'm talking like I'm holding the pick way up by the spine is what I call it, way up by away from the tip of the pick, and then I'm letting it flop around quite a lot in my fingers. Like I am literally trying to play as quietly as I possibly can, while still also holding the pick flat enough to the string so that it's actually picking a note out and not just kind of sliding over it. I want to actually pick still. So kind of a flat pick against the string, but holding it very loosely, and that forces you to look at to listen for the release. So this exercise is kind of what I call the heartbeat exercise, and you'll see why just because of the way it sounds when I play it against the metronome. So it lets you get kind of a pickup note or an anticipation note, and then the down pick is on the actual beat with the metronome. And you have to get it exactly with the metronome. If you've recorded and you've used, say, like Logic or one of the free recording programs, you can see the sound waves in there. And I want the metronome spike of the sound to be the exact same vertical line as when the sound starts on your pick. And it's not as easy as you think. So I'm just going to start playing, and just to give you an idea what this sounds like. So here's my metronome at 100. And then I'm going to go for that kind of heartbeat pattern. Again, as quiet as I can go. I'm going to go even quieter. You can kind of hear how I'm lagging that downstroke just a little bit. I need to work on the release of it, not the initiation of the movement, but the release of the pick. Almost. And let it ring out both directions. Switch strings. Nope, not even. Still not doing it very well. There's always even having practiced it a bit, there's still a delay, or I'm anticipating, or I'm lagging when the metronome actually clicks. And it's super sensitive. It takes a huge amount of concentration. But this kind of exercise, again, it has very low stress. You can do it a lot. And you can also put in a lot of variations. You can add scales in or string crossings like this. And you can hear some of my downbeats are not really ringing out because the synchronization's off, because I'm not getting the release or the left hand synchronized with the metronome. That's a little better, or you can do string crossings. And even beyond just adjacent strings. And not just the outside strings of a string crossing, but the inside strings, which are harder. Try that out. I think you'll find it maybe harder than you think, especially once you try for that absolute precision of hitting the downbeats along with the metronome click. And I hope this helps. Again, use a metronome, hold the pick as lightly as you possibly can. I want it floppy. I want it very, very, very quiet, so you're not compensating by squeezing the pick or pushing it harder or faster through the string. It has to be focused on the release, not the push. Hope that helps.